Unlike administrations at the center before it, the Buhari-led government, on assumption of office in 2015, was faced with a major crisis in its financial stronghold, the oil and gas sector. Revenue from this all-important driver of the economy was experiencing a nosedive, with crude oil price hitting an all-time low of $20 per barrel from a $100 average. National crude production was also at its lowest ebb, put at about 800,000 barrels per day, following unrest and vandalism in the Niger Delta region, the heart of Nigeria's oil and gas operations. Crowning this all was the loss of confidence on the part of investors due to long delay in the passage of a legal framework to give direction to operators. To say the least, the downstream subsector, enmeshed in a product subsidy controversy and ineffective local refining dilemma, was overwhelming. A radical approach had to be adopted.
We've done extremely well. We're starting on a positive note today where the price of oil is sitting at an all-time $78 a barrel. Production is obviously above 2 million barrels. We'd love to see it much higher. Investments, FIDs, and potential FIDs over the last next 2 years is in excess of $40 billion. So investments that had rapidly left the country are coming back. We are working very heavily on the infrastructural revamp program, which is going to be launched by His Excellency. But in the interim, the AKK pipeline has been approved by the Federal Executive Council, dusted, and it's almost ready to go. It takes gas from south to the north and opens up the power equation. We're working heavily on the refineries that I promised we're going to deliver, almost completing the process. For the first time, people who are producing oil are comfortable with what is happening. Largely the financing mechanisms that we put in place on the alternative funding mechanism and the cash call alternatives have led to a resurgence of interest in the oil sector. So, and then of course overall, for this to happen, you've got to have peace. We've had peace in the Niger Delta, sustained for a much longer period than we've expected, a lot of engagement, a lot of intervention. So all in all, I think we've, given where we started from and the difficulties that we had, we've done well.
However, this impressive turnaround wasn't a product of sheer luck. Various strategies had to be employed by all the critical interest groups to bring back the lost confidence. The first major step towards the 25-30-year Ogoniland cleanup process, as recommended by the UNEP report, kicked off.
This particular government is committed to the cleanup, and I guess they are taking their time to make sure that things are done properly. Buhari is ready to do it, and he wants to do it well, and he wanted us to plan. We have planned, and we've started.
This, followed by consultations with Niger Delta traditional rulers and youth leaders, returned sanity to the pipelines and operations in the region.
Most of these oil bunkeries and pipeline vandalism are caused by indigenous people, or they are led into the area by indigenes. But the PABA administration, and with the help of these indigenous oil companies who are in exploration and production, they have been able to reduce that through surveillance.
Turning the National Oil Company, the NNPC, and other relevant parastatals of the ministry around to be more transparent was also another major task before the administration.
The work started with looking at systems, processes, structures of NNPC. And of course, when I came on board in July 2016, I just continued giving leadership to that reform process. In terms of growing the business, we really set out to see that in line with our vision and also the major focal areas that I have developed, 12 focal business focal areas, we were able to clearly identify that we needed to grow our reserves. We needed to grow the NPDC, our in-house petroleum development company. We had to also work on the infrastructure as well as putting the refineries in the right form that they should. So these works needed dedication. We're looking at moving away from the traditional NOC to looking at NNPC as an energy company, not just an oil and gas company. So we're introducing things like power business into NNPC's portfolio. We're also looking at development of biomass, biofuels into the energy mix. So, and there are a lot of successes in these directions. If you look at the NPDC growth, when we came on board, NPDC was totally including operated assets. It was doing less than 60,000 barrels per day. Today, NPDC is producing close to 300,000 barrels per day.
We talk of NNPC all the time, but there are 7 other parastatals. There's a huge amount of work that is going on has gone on in DPR in terms of crude tracking. We're just about to launch an online platform that enables you to see what is happening in literally every oil producing platform in this country. It's going to be launched in a matter of weeks. We're looking at how to track refined petroleum products, so seepages out of our borders are stopped. You know, we're looking at very integrated work that has gone on building data to enable us force down costs. We're going to come down from 32 to 23. The model should be between 15 and 10. So we need to begin to move. So a huge amount of work is going on. And CDMB, we're launching industrial parks all over the country. You know, we're able to negotiate a position of tie-in such that the work that was delivered on a Gina platform contain about 30% of local content done here in Nigeria for the first time. Some of my agencies are working hard to become self-financing. MCDMB is applied to exit federal government financing and working with PPRA and DPR over the next 2 years to exit federal government finance and to fund themselves and become less of a burden on government. So huge amounts of positives have taken place.
The issue of the cash call, prior to when the government came on board, the debt being on cash call was about $6-7 billion. And unfortunately for this same government, when they came on board, the price of crude oil plummeted down. But for the quick intervention of the government, agencies and everybody, were able to nip it in board. And with that, resolving, okay, because of the money and everything now, what can we do? We need to look for a way. Yes, government is continuing. They're not the one that also owe this money. When crude oil was going at 120, 100, but what do we do? Let's work together and see how we can also do it. And that was also what led to increase in production for the IOCs. To also look at, okay, you increase your production, whatever you are getting, looking at it, and it was signed off. And things being paid, and definitely, to the glory of God, the issue of redundancy has drastically gone down in the oil and gas. So that's a big deal for us, looking at where we are coming from and where we are today.
Perhaps a critical milestone by the Buhari administration towards achieving its goal for the oil and gas sector is the demystification of the all-encompassing petroleum industry bill. The legislators segmented the comprehensive legal framework into 4 components for easy passage after over a decade of its sojourn in and out of the National Assembly.
The Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, which has been passed and awaiting the President's assent, we are at the moment working feverishly, on the passage of 3 other bills. The Petroleum Industry Administration Bill in the works. We have the Petroleum Industry Host Community Bill in the work, and we have the Petroleum Industry Fiscal Bill in the works. All of them are important, but to me the 2 most important ones are the fiscals and the host communities, because all the problems we have been having is because the host communities feel that they have not been carried along enough in the exploration of oil, crude oil and other products in this country. So we have paid a lot of premium on it.
Already, the dividends of this action is becoming visible with the rigs coming alive again in Nigeria.
Yes, that meeting which I attended, what the leader His Excellency the President, was meant to address the Bonga potential investment, about $15 billion investment. And what Shell has tried to do is to look at a model to develop the second continuing field on Bonga. and getting ready to take an FID hopefully by July, which means that we must complete all the contracting process between NNPC and themselves. And what the president did was give them courage that we need to move. It's critical investment for us, but we must make sure that the terms under which they're developing those are right. But different from that, it will lead them to other investments that they're potentially very happy about. The organic cleanup was one of the areas of focus. Investments in terms of some expansion in community-based soft investments were all part of that whole point. But more important, working with NCDMB to ensure that local content is also infused into that, and Nigeria's benefit was also part of that. So the reality is that, and that is just one of those investments that are showing up on the table. Shell is 15 billion, Zabazaba is a potential 11 billion, Egina is about 15 billion. So they're all tunking into the system. That's because one of the most fundamental difficulties they've had previously has been solved, and that is the financing model, which we came up with and which the Federal Executive Council approved. It created better confidence in the system. So all in all, I am happy the investments are coming in. I think we can do more.
We've been improving on how we manage the oil and gas industry. We've been improving on how we derive value. But I can say specifically about the administration, the current administration of President Buhari, that one area that you can give a lot of kudos to this administration is that they do what they say. In the oil industry, I can say clearly, from inception, they defined, the current government defined clear programs. There are quick wins, there are the big wins, all initiated by the government. And the president, being the doubling also as the Minister of Petroleum, has given more impetus to the entire process and being able to drive it from very top. And it's like in typical management system saying that there is full management dedication to results. I'll be a little bit more specific. If you look at the entire value chain and you are looking at from upstream all the way to downstream, that includes the midstream, you can see various issues that have been dealt with.
Development, the body mandated to ensure the advancement of local capacity in the industry, is confident is adding unprecedented value.
I'm happy to tell you that more than 10,000 people worked on the Egina project, be it fabrication, be it logistics, be it drilling, as the case may be. Also on the Egina project itself, in terms of enhancing skills for Nigerians. It's the first time that we were integrating topside of an FPSO in the country. 6 out of the 18 topsides were fabricated in country, in Lagos. And we are hoping that when future projects come, they must beat the Egina record. If not 50% of topside will be fabricated in country. So the benefits are enormous. The opportunities that the oil and gas sector create has potential to increase GDP if local content is implemented and linked to other sectors, as the case may be. So I think that is the main thrust of the executive orders, to say, look, how can we bolt on?
In this regime, we have enjoyed local content. Local content has come to stay. We are doing perfectly well in the oil and gas industry, that we have been given so much attention by the IOCs and even oil servicing company because of the local content that have been put in place. And besides that, if you see some of the IOCs, you will see that a lot of them, Mr. President has also advised that they should give them the joint venture money. Some of them have also been arranged with, if they can give them through oil. So quite a lot of the IOCs are doing perfectly well by paying a lot of people that are doing job for them.
Controversial as the downstream subsector in Nigeria has come to be, even the worst critics of government intervention drives this time believe the solution may just be at the corner. It is believed that the resolution of the hydro-headed subsidy system is a major step.
The OPEC was able to have a relationship with some of the major non-OPEC producers of crude oil. Particularly, I'm talking about Russia and Saudi Arabia coming together to agree that they are going to cut down production of crude oil so as to stabilize the price. The price had gone very low. And that was about the time that we also took decision in terms of partial deregulation. So with that agreement happening in November 2016, the prices of crude oil immediately started jumping up. And as it was climbing, so also the landed price of PMS. And of course, Mr. President is very magnanimous and mindful of the people and the economy. And of course, he gave us a directive to ensure that we flood the market, fill up the differentials, and ensure that product is all over the country. Of course, the government is still of the opinion that the common Nigerian should continue to get right quality products at the right quantity, at the right price. And of course, with that, they've not moved the price cap. It's still 145. And NNPC is making the product available.
We know that this money is going to one source, and that source can be looked into easily in future if one feels that something is amiss. But in the past, money just comes and is distributed all over the place. You don't even know what A has contributed to what B has contributed, and it was just like the lagues for the boys. So that one is off. We have also said that the only answer to all these ups and downs in the oil industry, especially downstream, is to ensure that we refine our crude locally. We have the capacity to if we really face what we should face, to ensure that we refine our crude, supply people in the West African coast, and make good money.
The Buhari administration's main focal point is transparency and accountability. Now, Petroleum Equalization Fund Management Board easily keyed in that term. One, regular payment. Two, efficient payment. Particularly in PF, we use technology first to load products, technology to receive, and technology to process marketers' claims, technology to even carry out other operations, activities in PF. Now, what that means is that once you reduce the human involvement in these processes, then you increase efficiency, you increase transparency. The PIGB has assigned new responsibilities to PF, huge responsibilities. And also PF is going to be transformed into a fund manager with huge challenging responsibilities. And I think that is very important for this country, especially why it concerns infrastructure maintenance, because we need that seriously in this country.
It is this government now that has now revived, especially the current group managing director. The man starts from Lagos, that is Ejigo, satellite depot. He brings that depot back to life. Then Musini area office, the man brings it to life. He moved from that place down to Ibadan. All the depots that I mentioned now, after so many years, that all those depots abandoned. And that's why we have problem in Lagos. As we are talking now, they are about to recommission Ilorin depot. And that is the promise made to us. We, as a tanker driver, under our mother union of pain, if the tire of our truck are not rolling, there's nothing for us. So we continue to collaborate, to work with the current government, because we know that all their promises, they are trying their best. And our belief is that if they have the opportunity to govern this country for 16 years, like the other one that governed this country for 16 years, we will see the gap, the difference. We believe in what we are seeing for these 3 years.
In view of developments across the globe regarding the adoption of cleaner energy, the Buhari administration in the last 3 years has aggressively embarked on infrastructural development, which has remained the bane of gas development in the country. The results to be felt in the various sectors of power, industry, manufacturing and agriculture will provide the expected linkage between the oil industry and the larger society.
The availability of gas will ensure that such big industries are established in Nigeria, and of course by that you get employment. You also have food sufficiency in terms of agriculture, since fertilizer is going to be available all over the place. So these are very, very important aspects that we're looking at. And it also improves political impact of the region. For example, we are supplying gas to Benin and Togo and Ghana. And of recent, their own electricity production also has gone up because they take a lot more gas from Nigeria because of the availability. So these are various linkages you could have with the economy.
The infrastructure, yes, is key to it, and that is why today we are comfortably saying that, yes, for the past 3 years we have been able to expand the capacity of the infrastructure by, one, progressing the works that have been going on the ELP expansion, and then two, making sure that the OB3, which will link the east and west, is also moving. Private sector participation is key, and that is why even in the pipeline, which had been ignored before by private guys, we have created the atmosphere where you can now bring in money, lay the pipeline, and get your money back through the tariff. We are already starting that with the AKK, Jakarta, Kaduna, and Kano pipeline. So one initiative that you cannot also take it away from this government is that bold initiative.
No doubt, the Buhari administration is committed to diversification of the economy. However, with the performance of the oil and gas sector so far, giving hope to the 2018 budget, reviewed upward to a $51 per barrel benchmark and a daily crude oil production of 2.3 million barrels by the National Assembly, it may not be out of place to conclude that the foundation for life beyond oil in Nigeria is already being laid solidly by the Buhari-led administration.
President Buhari is trying to rebuild Nigeria. Nobody will agree with him, especially those who have stolen our money, who had made it impossible for us to move forward. They will fight against him, they will do everything against him. But posterity will put him in a place where everybody will say, had we known, we would not vilify this man as much as we did.
Mindful of the peering eyes of Nigerians, that a whole lot more needs to be done to justify the huge amount of resources that have both passed and have a present potential to, to abate in this country. That work really needs to continue in earnest. And hopefully, praying that Nigerians will give us the time, patience, and understanding, both to appreciate what it is that we've done and to support us as we take on the bullish steps that we need to take into the future.